Hey, Robbie.
Hello there, David.
Greetings and salutations.
Greetings for a great day.
It was, I decided to just sit inside this room because I'm working all day long, and boy, you get to work, I don't know, 8 o'clock in the morning, and yeah, the sun's up, but it's not real bright. Then you get to work off about 6 o'clock at night, and it's dark. It's still, I seem to miss the sunshine.
Yeah, I've been out and about all day today.
Good.
Yeah, I was out this morning doing some things, and then about 11 o'clock, I was invited to go to a luncheon over in Beaverton at the Buster's restaurant over there.
Buster's Barbecue or whatever.
Yeah, it's a SBE, or Society of Broadcast Engineers, are meeting today. So I went over there, had a good time. They got some great meat sandwiches over there. They're really great.
God, I can't remember the last time I went out to go eat in a restaurant. This during COVID thing. My wife has to take care of her mom. And,
oh, I see.
She's 94, and then there's just the risk of, me bringing something home and nobody knowing about it. Then all of a sudden she takes it to her mom and nobody knows about it. And all of a sudden her mom has it. It just can't afford that risk,
Yeah, we were real careful today. There's only about 5 of us this time. Last meeting we had last month, we had 15 guys there.
We did.
Yeah, and nobody got COVID.
That's good. That's really good to hear. So what do you think's what did you have any look to see what was going to be on the auction? Well, there's Franklin.
I don't know what's going to be on the auction.
Hey, Franklin, I just going to say, I think you meant Friday, you meant Saturday the 12th, right? Not Saturday the 8th?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Thanks.
What kind of stuff are you guys going to be auctioning off of the 15 items?
I haven't even seen it yet. It's from the last guy that donated a bunch of stuff. I can't remember his name now.
Oh.
So he had pretty good stuff, that last stuff. So I'm expecting, but I haven't seen it yet.
I think at that auction I got a ICO capacitor tester, I think, and I went through that and I made it perfect. So I don't have any use for it now though, but so
cool.
I don't know what to do with that. So
well, save it for the auction. Save it for our show coming up in April.
Well, you think I could sell it there?
Sure. Yeah, just get a table and throw your stuff out there and wave a flag, says, come and get it.
What do you have to repair on it there, Dave?
Pardon me?
What do you have to repair on it?
Oh, everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was kind of a basket case. The worst part of it is I shouldn't say everything. There was only one pot that was really bad. It was the 4-watt 100K ohm pot, which is non-existent. So that ended up costing me about $40 for that.
Ouch.
And then then you buy of course all the capacitors are bad, right? The precision capacitors. I had to go buy a bunch of 1% capacitors for that, and change some resistors out. Luckily I've got 1% resistors out in stock. I did that, and then I went through and I, of course, had to do every YouTube video and read everything on it. And the guy said that really, the thing about those capacitor testers where you have the eye that opens and closes, the problem is you don't know what open and close means, right? How much leakage is that?
Exactly.
So what I did is I actually calibrated it, and I used the Heathkit recommendations. So for electrolytic, and I had like a 2 milliamps would be the eye closure current, and then for the like paper and mica and those other capacitors, I had 2 microamps. And so 2 milliamps is pretty easy to measure, but 2 microamps is a little bit harder, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I got that figured out, and It works really well now. I mean, just I had to put a new eye tube in it, and what else I have to do? Just generally, clean all the pots and then replace that one. That one was really expensive. They just don't make them, so I had to go to eBay and buy one.
Yeah, I've got an old capacitor tester too, but mine has a dial on it.
Oh, it does. It's got a meter.
It's got a meter on it, so I can tell if the capacitor is bad or not, because it'll, on one end of the dial it says good, the other one it says bad. So
Oh, sorry.
throw 600 volts on there, and if it's bad, that needle goes bang clear over to the left side and it says bad. So
So I had a really good friend of mine. His name is Mark Winland in Corvallis. He's a really good friend of mine, and he had a machine shop, and he used to do TV and radio repair when he got out of the military. And so he has this radio shop, and anyways, Mark was pretty sick, and he passed away, and he gave me his radio shop, and virtually nothing worked, right? So, but that's okay. I've been slowly making my way through it, and I got his. He had this capacitor tester called the ZM-3. It's a military one. I think I showed pictures of it, and I got that working really well. And so now it's kind of like what you have, Robbie, is where you can actually directly measure the current. So for mine doesn't have good bad, it just has like how much leakage it is. And then it's got that's for electrolytics, and then for paper and mica and film capacitors, you can measure the impedance across the capacitor, actually the resistance across the capacitor, or the leakage resistance. And then they've got charts where you take a look at the capacitance value times the resistance has got to be less than some number, and that's how you get pass, no pass on that for different types of grades. Like it could be a K, or it could be L, it could be the different sorts of what they call it, the percent tolerance on the capacitors and stuff like that. Anyways, they have all those things listed on the chart. So I got that working really well too. So now I got too many capacitors. I got 4 of the darn things now, so I don't need that.
yeah, mine had a little scale on it. It had a switch on it. It showed testing. Then it showed the kind of capacitor was on there. You flipped it to this where it said make of it, whatever it was, and it'd show you if it was a 5 or a 10 or a 20.
Mm-hmm.
Gives you an idea in case the number was not on the capacitor, it was wore off or something. So it would tell you exactly what capacitor you had.
Who made it? Do you remember?
It was ICO.
ICO. Well, it's probably the same one I have. I have the 950B. It's in Bravo.
Okay, I don't remember the model number, but it's in my other room. So, but it works real well. Get up 600 volts and test all those things. And I had one that blew up on me though. I got up 600 volts and that thing just blew the end out of it, and blew powder and crap all over me and all over the meter. And
oh, really?
yeah, it was a mess. I had to spend almost an hour cleaning all that stuff up. Yeah, that one was pretty weak. The whole end of it just blew out. So I'm real careful now when I test those things at high voltage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially you need to take them down slowly so you can discharge them, because those if you put you have a microfarad, and you put 600 volts on it or something like that, that's a lot of energy stored in one of those things.
Yeah, I got this big round long resistor that's about 1.5 inches wide and about 1 foot long. It has a slider on it.
Oh yeah.
And so when I hook up the capacitor to this resistor, I slowly slide that slide down, and you can I have a voltmeter that's on it, and you can just watch the voltage go down to 0. But one time my voltmeter wasn't quite working right, and so I just took my screwdriver and went across it, and it still snapped. So I do the check twice, make sure it's clear, because I got bit a couple times myself.
Does it take the end off your screwdriver?
No, I just, well, it put a little arc in the side of it, but that was about it. But I have blown some screwdrivers off. It just, after I got through testing, just lay them down and the thing goes kabang, and look at my screwdriver. It's got a big dent in it. Chip out of it. But getting bit by those things is no fun.
No.
No, it feels like your heart's just going to jump right out of your chest sometimes.
Yeah, I find myself using all sorts of curse words when I do that too. So it just seems to spawn the curse words coming out of me when.
Well, that takes my breath away, so I can't curse. Afterwards, though, after I sober up, I'm okay. I say, what the heck did I do?
So are you going to show pictures of this something on Saturday, Franklin? Is that what you're going to show today?
Oh no, we're gonna have some of Rick Ryan's estate's gonna be there.
Oh, okay.
So that's gonna be there, and then they're gonna have the small auction. Hey Pat, they're asking what radios are gonna be in the auction. Have you got a list yet or anything like that?
Oh no, I just got it this afternoon. I went up there and picked them up, and so I got to inventory all this stuff here.
Oh wow, it's a lot of stuff.
Well, I don't know, about a dozen items. I can't count, but
Is there any test equipment?
yeah, I think so, but nothing real high end like you like. What I'm going to ask the club is if we can hold back some of the test equipment and put it in our inventory so that members can check it out. He's got a voltmeter and a capacitance checker and a signal generator. Are those any things that you're interested in?
Oh, I just got a bad, Pat. I just got the disease bad.
He just likes to get them and fix them and then sell them
Sell them? Oh no.
or donate them. There you go.
Oh, donate them back. Oh, okay. We actually do have a need. Roy said that, and we don't have this. This is a capacitance bridge. And I think that would be nice for us in the club to have it so people can check it out to test their capacitors.
Who makes
He
it?
says that it just needs to be reassembled. He thought maybe someone fixed it all up, but it needs to be put back together for the club. But I don't know if anyone has the time to do that.
Who
What?
makes it? Capacitance bridge.
That sounds like a great project for Dave.
Cornell,
Dubler.
yes.
Those are not necessarily toys. They're highly precision pieces of equipment, actually. So I don't know if
Well, we don't have anything to test capacitors that members can check out. So this is as best as we got so far. So we just need someone to maybe put it back together.
well, it's a bridge that'll it'll probably test resistance and capacitance and inductance. It's probably,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Okay, well, we just need someone to put it back together and test it or whatever.
Do you have a schematic
I doubt it.
or a layout?
No, I don't have one. He didn't have it included with this, but if there's someplace that has one, maybe we can get it. I
How
mean,
about
Where's his name?
oscilloscopes? I noticed Jay's online. So is there any oscilloscopes in the newest auctions?
I don't know. I don't think so. But we will have it. Literally, I mean, I just picked this up not that long ago. I just, we went out today and ran over there, got word of it earlier to come out today to pick it up. So I figured it's a good idea to pick up all this stuff and get it all inventoried so that we can get it out to the club members so that we can entice them to come to the meeting and, bid on the auction stuff.
So
But
Jay, do you have it bad for oscilloscopes, Jay?
Yes, sir.
So Jay, you wanted to know if we're having an auction. We will be having an auction on Saturday. And Franklin, are you able to put it online like you always?
If you give me pictures, I can put it online. So,
Oh,
maybe-
okay.
or a list. So anything like that.
Okay. Well, I'll plan to do it. I probably will be online in the meeting, but I'll probably turn my sound off because I kind of want to do the inventory. And if there's something, you guys see, you may want to like, oh, what is that? I can show you. But basically, he had so much stuff that I left a bunch of stuff there because we just couldn't carry it. So he's gonna contact us later when he finished cleaning out his rest of his garage, attic, and other stuff. So there's like going to be a set of riders, but I don't even know if we can sell those for much money. But he's donating all his riders and some more wood table radios and whatnot. So I have no idea what's left.
Hey,
But
Pat,
yo,
if you're gonna go down there, I can go down there with my truck and help you bring this stuff
Okay.
back.
oh, okay.
Where's there, Pat?
Exit 296 to Williger. What? 297 to Williger. Right off of I-5.
Twilliger. Twilliger.
To Williger. Yes,
Williger.
to Williger exit right off of I-5.
Oh, 297 exit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll have to see when he's gonna contact us. He's selling his home and moving, so it'll
boy.
be sometime this spring.
Okay, I can help out with my truck. No
Okay,
problem.
much appreciated.
Sure.
So Dave, do you want to try to put this thing together?
Let me
Pretty
take a
please.
look at it, Pat. Let me take a look at it. Because some of that stuff is like non-trivial, right? You can put it together, but to make it to work, it's a whole different story.
Yeah, this is Dave Allen. What is it? I came late.
Oh,
It's a bridge, Dave. It's a
capacitance bridge is what he's written on it.
What brand name was it? I was more interested in. I've got a couple of them.
it's Cornell Doubler.
No, I don't have any. I don't have that one.
It's probably Cornell Doubler. I think they made stuff up into the 50s, I think. But that's about when they ended. But they used to make like the top end, stuff.
Why is it all apart?
If you're gonna, a lot of the stuff we're getting from him is been taken apart, and I think he had plans on doing all these projects, but now he's moving. So he just cleaned out his garage and he's gonna clean out his attic, and he's just gonna get rid of stuff. So it's unfortunately a lot of the stuff has been taken apart. So Dave, what I was hoping is that we could get some of this equipment into the club's stuff, and so that members can check this out. They don't have to buy their own. So we'll let them borrow this and use it.
The rental library.
Yeah. Well, it's really it's not really a rental library. I mean, we lend it out for free, right? It's
It's
just
a free rental.
free rental for all club members.
Loan? How about a loan? I don't know.
You
It's
gotta
a
have
tool
some-
library.
You got to have somebody keep track of it because our 3D club has lost all kinds of cameras because nobody keeps track of it. Anyway,
Good point.
if Dave, the other Dave wants to look at it first and he doesn't want to, give it to, what's his name? The Tektronix guy, Bruce. And maybe Bruce can get it to me because he lives over here by me, I think.
Would you like to take
Would
it?
you
Would you
look
like
at
to look at this, David? David Allen, would you like to look at that? Cornell?
I'm curious and I know functionally how bridges work and you'd have to look at I'd have to look at the parts to see if it's even repairable.
Yeah. Well, they have a bunch of precision, there's a bunch of precision parts in there, like I think for inductance, you have to have your inductance standards, as well as your capacitance standards, and that, just to get the impedances right, so you can measure the bridge properly.
Yeah,
And then
for
the
inductance
switching
and
has got to be
capacitance.
right.
Yeah, for inductance and capacitance, you have to have some kind of a sine wave generator as well, or,
Mhm.
you know, small inductors you can't do with 60 hertz.
Nope, that's exactly right. You have to have. Mhm.
What you got there, Pat?
Well, something else. I was just gonna pull them and do inventory. This one looks pretty nice.
Oh yeah, my dad had one of those.
Oh, I'd love to. I love that. I've been wanting to get a one of those for a long time.
Are you gonna show up for the auction?
It's a 500, right? It's a
What's it say on
Zenith
the
500 transoceanic.
I have no idea.
On the right side of the back there, on the inside, it should say something there. Should be a
Yeah,
label
it
there.
should- on the back it should say transoceanic, or it should have 500H or something like that.
It's the first one after the war, and I don't think it's an H. I think it's a G.
It's an 8G00Y or something like that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
H.
Yeah,
Yeah, HG005
Mm.
YT. Does that sound right?
yeah.
Yep.
Loctals.
I have one of those. Nice radio.
Does that this 1L6 in it?
No, it's LA1, LA6 Loctals,
Yeah.
not miniatures.
It's got slots for 8 tubes, but unfortunately, there's no tubes in it.
How many
Oh, they're pretty easy to get. They're Loctals.
Oh, well, they could be in a box somewhere.
Yeah, that was the first transoceanic after World War II. So a lot of the GIs came home and they wanted that radio. So it was very
Oh.
popular.
Oh, really? Can you show that again, Pat?
Yeah, it has that nice black plastic front and the wave magnet.
Uh-huh.
Same style, I mean, basically as the later ones, but you know, the handle doesn't swivel and, you know, various things. Small dial.
Pat,
But
I think,
tubes.
Pat, I think I have some tubes for that. If you just give me a list of what's in there.
Okay,
Looks like it's missing the wave magnet though. Should be on the back panel.
Yeah, there's a red and black horseshoe shaped thing that's an accessory.
no, it doesn't have the red horseshoe thingy.
And they have suction cups on them, so you put them on the window or on the window of a train.
Yeah, no, it's not there, Myron. There's no tube layer on this one.
So Pat, are you going to be at the meeting Saturday?
Yes, I have to, because I have to bring all the stuff in for the auction.
Will you bring those membership forms or sign up or whatever it need to be?
Oh, sure.
Because I need to maybe even be reminded when I'm there, so I think about it.
Okay,
Or you
Yeah,
can
I do.
announce it at the meeting too,
do it now.
Yeah, yeah.
Announce.
that you got sign up forms or whatever, or renewals.
Oh, well, what specifically do you need a sign up form for?
I just need to pay, I guess. There's nothing, I just pay Ed or something.
Yeah, just pay him money.
Yeah, I just need to be maybe reminded because I didn't go to last month's meeting.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully I won't forget.
Yeah, that'll take your money.
It looks like Dan's got a couple of metal radios. Are you there, Dan?
I'm here.
Are you going to show your radios?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but when it's time,
Okay, it's time.
oh, it's time now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I brought a couple of seldom seen metal sets since today's topic. The one on top, I honestly don't know what brand it is. It has little script with the word load, LOAD, or Lord, or something like that. It's very tiny. It's essentially styled after the Arvin metal sets of the 50s, but this set was made in Japan. And it's the five tube all American, all Japanese 5. And I'm not confident that the that the dial here is correct. That actually is an Arvin dial that was on it when I got it. But since I don't know anything about the radio, I've never been able to find a sample to confirm or deny the originality of this one. And it's sort of a peachy pink color. And I really like it. The labeling is all in Japanese inside. So.
Hey, Dan,
You,
if you can email me a picture of that labeling on the back, have my wife look at it. See if
hey,
it,
that'd be fun. That'd be
Thank you.
great. It's pasted in the side here, but I'll do the best I can. But yeah, it's just kind of a fluky little go with my Arvin collection kind of radio. So the next one is down here. This is an American made radio by the Howard Company, a 1938 model 200. And this one is a 4-tuber in a little bitty toaster shaped cabinet. Toaster is probably a good word for it because it has a curtain burner resistant slide cord on it. It's kind of amusing because at the same time that Howard wasn't able to figure out how to do add up the filament voltage to get to 120, Arvin was doing it with just 2 tubes. And here Howard was using 4 tubes and a resistance line cord to get to 120. But it's a neat little radio nonetheless. I just got this one from Sonny. He and I have been trying to smooth a deal for about 30 years. And I finally asked him at the last meeting when he brought up selling his collection if it was still around, and he dug it out from underneath his workbench after all these years. I'm very pleased with it.
So did the price go up in 30 years?
Honestly, I think it came down a little bit. Sonny was so pleasant to deal with. We had a wonderful visit at his home and saw his beautiful collection again. And yeah, I think he was pleased after all these years to see this go to a good home. But I would encourage anybody to hit him up and go over there. He's serious about moving things out and was wonderful to deal with. So.
The knobs are on top and the speaker's on the end. Where's the speaker?
Yeah, the speaker is here on top.
Oh, it's on the top.
Yeah, kind of where the toast goes in the 3 slots.
Yeah.
And
Oh my gosh.
yeah, they really packed it in there.
Tubes are upside down.
Yeah, everything's upside down, or right side up, or whatever.
Yeah, the tubes are right side up, the cabinet's upside down.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just love it. And not the least of which is it has my name on it. So
What type of bottom plate would that have been? Just a cardboard paper?
maybe it does have kind of a little ledge that might have had a cardboard cover, although with the grid caps and such, I don't know if a cover would have fit on there very well. So maybe it never had one.
Yeah, they could have put a little rise probably in a cover because you have the feet on there.
Yeah, maybe so.
Nice.
So,
And then where did that radio come from? It's considered a tabletop or a countertop?
yeah, it's a tabletop, and I believe that the Howard company that made this one is out of Chicago.
Mm.
This is the same company that made ham radios and communication radios, and this sort of curved top style is typical of a lot of their receivers. Although this is the smallest one, obviously.
Yeah, it's good looking.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice. looking.
So since it's metal, then it had to have an external cord for an antenna.
Yep, it has a has a long wire.
A hank of cable, yeah.
I'll shut up now.
Is there any rust on it?
You're muted now, Dan. There you go.
If there is some rust on it, it's original rust. No, I don't think that there is.
So do you plan on taking it apart or just leaving it the way it
Well,
is?
Yeah, I don't know. Sonny procrastinated an awful lot of years from working on it, and I think there's a reason. It is really tight inside there. And so I'll probably, it'll just be another one of my shelf queens more than likely.
Mhm.
Well, thank you, Dan. That's great.
Thank you for having me.
Yep, thanks. Liked it.
Looks like Myron's got one. What you got there, Myron?
So this is a GE model 250. You can see the front of it here, or the top of it actually. And it is metal, but the lid is made of Bakelite, even though it's all painted the same color. And I don't know if you guys have seen any of these. Probably there are quite a few of them made. They're right after the war, 46, 47. This one weighs like 19 pounds. And it's interesting because it has a lead acid battery in it, so it's rechargeable. This is the broadcast band version and the 250. And you had to charge it. You couldn't listen to it while you were charging it. So it has a switch that says, charge or off or on.
And then what year is that?
Right after the war, 46, 47. And so rechargeable, was kind of a cool thing because people were spending so much money on batteries for portable sets, I guess. But this sold for $90 in like 1946.
So what did it have? A vibrator to get the high voltage for the tubes?
Yeah, so it has a 2-volt vibrator,
Yeah.
synchronous vibrator.
Yeah.
And for the power supply, when you plug it into the wall, it has a transformer that makes 2 volts. But the way it rectifies it is it has copper oxide rectifiers.
Yeah.
So it has a center tapped transformer that makes 2 volts, and then these copper oxide rectifiers.
Must have a monstrous capacitor.
Yeah, well,
2 volt.
the great thing was it used the battery, right? Because you couldn't
Okay.
charge it at the same time as you listen to it.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
So the battery took care of all that capacitance, right?
So the only time you used it was when it was running on a battery.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
claimed it would last 20 hours. And much like an electric car, it takes about another 20 hours to charge it up.
Yeah.
Now they made another version a year later, which I have here.
Is that battery any good or is it wasted?
Oh, they're wasted. They were made by Willard, whoever that is. And so I didn't open the back. All
Wait.
metal,
Are they 12 volts or what are they?
2 volt, single cell lead acid.
1 2-volt battery. Huh?
Yeah. So this is the shortwave version, and this is the shortwave antenna that comes with it. And the shortwave version, which is a 260, added, it was a year later, and it added the ability to listen to it while you're charging it, but it would trickle charge it while you're listening to it. And then you see it has all these buttons, and it has short waves. 16, 19, 25, 31, 49 meters, as well as standard broadcast and tone controls. And the shortwave version had 2 IFs instead of just one. So it had an RF amplifier and 2 IFs as well. And it has local tubes, except for the output tube is a 3Q5, which is just a regular old octal tube, not loctal. So that was an interesting combination. But if this antenna goes on one side, there's a cover here, and it plugs into the side of the set like this. But of course, since it's lead acid battery, you're going to want to set it up like this all the time. You wouldn't want to lay it down. It has a vent in the back of the cover for the gases to escape when you're charging it.
So it's not a sealed lead acid, it's a sealed.
Semi-sealed, right? It has a vent on it, right? But you wouldn't want to, you wouldn't want to turn it sideways or anything like that.
Crap, I just looked on internet, for lead acid batteries and stuff like that. Holy smokes, they're expensive.
Well, you can get what do they call it? AGM glass mat batteries now. I don't know if you can get them in this
2-volt?
form factor. Yeah, I don't know if you can get them in 2-volt versions,
What?
but they don't leak as much.
What did short radio broadcast? Shortwave? Was it
Well,
just,
shortwave at the time, it was international. It's where you got a lot of news from Europe and that kind of thing, right? Certainly the Voice of America, but also Deutsche Welle, and I don't know when they started transmitting again after the war, right? At some point.
Well, BBC was,
Yeah. A lot of international news kind of stuff
And
that you
then-
couldn't get in the US.
how powerful would those transmitters have to be? Was that you could catch those shortwave radio programs at night, or?
Oh, yeah, in the US, yeah, sure.
And then you needed a bigger antenna, or just the one that comes in the radios?
Well, I don't know. I mean, this had an RF amplifier and 2 IFs, so it was probably a pretty good performer. You had that vibrator, so it was going to be making a humming noise all the time it's running. Of course, the vibrators are, unobtainium. They're 6-pin, weird form factor and everything else. So that's kind of the biggest problem in keeping these things running is the vibrators.
what sort of voltage that came out on the backside of the vibrator? What was it boosting it to?
Well, it's going to go to like 100 and, over 100 volts easily.
Right.
Yeah. And then
I was wondering if you
it
could
was
just
a-
bypass that, you could just
it
go
was a
to,
synchronous vibrator, right? So it does, it's basically full wave without having to have rectifiers, right?
oh,
The
you mean,
vibrator does the rectification.
Yeah, so you
Okay.
switch the primaries and the secondaries at the same time. That's why I call it synchronous.
mhm.
It's not synchronous to anything else, but the primary and the secondary are synchronous,
Yeah.
synchronized together.
So what was what do you think if you just bypassed all that and just went in, like on the B plus and stuff like that, what was that running, 90 volts then or something like that? Or
Oh, I'm sure it would work at 90 volts, and then you need 1.5 volts for the filaments. They're in parallel. But it's like an amp and a half or something total.
Dan's got a Willard battery there.
Yeah, looks like a car battery. But Willard was the company that made the lead acid battery in these, and they're still in here. They're just little plastic guys, and they have 2 little beads in them that tell you the charge state of the batteries. The 2 colored beads, one of them sinks when you get below 80%, and the other one sinks when you get up below 20% charge, and vice versa when they come back up. So they're calibrated specific, to measure the specific gravity of the acid that's in.
What is that, a hydrometer then? It must be a hydrometer.
Built-in hydrometer.
Built-in
Basically,
hydrometer. Oh,
they
I
had
didn't
2
know
little tubes where the acid goes in, and then they had 2 little beads that would float in there or sink depending on the specific gravity of the acid.
that's pretty cool.
I wanted to bring up something that we talked about last week. So the mica capacitor, is this a resistor discussion that we had? The research that I did, it seems that there were actually 2 different color codes used for those 6-dot capacitors. The one before the war was RMA, And then during World War II, the feds came up with a military spec color code. And so depending on that radio that the picture was made that had that, is this a resistor question? If that was post-war, then that was a mil spec color code. And the way it differs is the first dot is either black or white. And I forget which one is which, but one of them means civilian and the other one means military. And then after the first dot, you start the values of the capacitor. So if you skip the first dot and then go to the next two, that was it red? No, it was orange. Yeah.
Yeah, 3-3.
So it was 3-3, and then the next one was black. So, or was it brown? Yeah, brown. So 3-3 and then 1-0. So my take is that that's a 330 puff cap, which I think is what Rick Walton said back east. And so I agree with him on that. But it turns out there's two different color codes. And so during the war, it's kind of ambiguous which one they're using. If the first dot is not black or white, then you can be sure it's pre-war. But if it's black or white, it's kind of ambiguous. But just wanted to bring that up because turns out, yeah, there's Gary. There's two different color codes.
The EIA.
Yeah.
Yeah, the EIA RNA post-war code. I'll scan this and send it to you guys. You've probably seen it though. It's the one that doesn't start with black or white.
Okay.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah. So
I never knew that, Myron, as far as the military having black or white as a first dot.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was a white,
kinda
it was
weird.
a white circle, so it must have been a civilian must be white then, huh? 'Cause I think
I think so, yeah. And so, also those capacitors, I mean, as you know, even resistors, something that starts with a 9 is pretty unusual anyway.
Mhm.
It's going to start with a 1 instead.
Looks like a
But-
telephone.
But you only need 3, you only need 2 digits of precision also instead of 3,
Yeah.
because the capacitors aren't anywhere close to having 3 digits of precision.
Kind of interesting because I have like 91 picofarad capacitors that are like that I happen to be dealing with right now. So it's,
Yeah, so it does happen, yeah.
it does
Hey,
happen.
I gotta put into this. Come on, guys, it's microfarads. How old are you? Not picofarads.
Well, some of us have started using nanofarads, and that's real heresy.
Yeah. I'm just trying to be funny if you don't.
No, me too. So I'm done.
Yeah. I could show you the only metal thing I got if you're interested.
Sure, go ahead,
Here
Dave.
it is. Here it is. Can you see it?
Geiger counter?
A Geiger counter. And the story behind this is more than the worth of the thing. Back in the early 50s, when radioactive ore was very scarce, my father decided he was going to become a miner. And you should have heard what my mom had to say about that, because this thing cost about $200 way back then. And
Okay.
anyway, we used to drive around in our old 1940 Chevrolet with the thing stuck out the window, hoping that the meter would move. Obviously, you got to be right on top of whatever it is that has any radioactivity in it. And anyway, I think it takes 2 67.5 volt batteries, and it takes 3 or 4 1.5 volt batteries to make it work. Anyway, that's my electronics in a metal box.
So did you guys, when you drive around, did you ever see it work? I imagine, holy
Wow.
smokes, I'd keep driving if that was the case.
Oh yeah, if the radioactivity was so high that you could measure it outside, sticking it out the window of the car, you would have been dead in a,
Yeah, you just keep driving faster, right? So
yeah, really fast. But like I say, to use this, you'd have to open up the little, the little Geiger tube has a window on it. There, you open it up like that, and now it'll work, but you close it, and it won't come through the metal. But you'd have to stick it right on the rock that you were trying to test, and then you could see the meter move. Anyway.
I was
That's
reading that during the Manhattan Project, one of the things they did was they went around and bought up mine tailings that had been mined for silver and different things.
Yeah.
Because they could get uranium out of it.
Out of what was thrown away.
Yeah, yeah, but they did it in secret. The government went around and did it in secret. So they got it real cheap.
Yeah, wow. Anyway, that's mine.
I used to be a rock hound years ago. I lived in Ontario over there. We used to go in the Circuit Creek Canyon, and there was a lot of mining going in there for copper, silver, and lead, and all kinds of stuff. And so my dad and I took our Geiger counter and we went through there. We were walking along and we were picking up all kinds of radiation
Really?
stuff. Where all these old mines had their tailings coming out of there. Well, that thing just took off. So I figured, well, we better not get too close to this stuff. Get away.
I don't suppose you could make a claim on it because it was the tailings of a already claimed mine, right?
Yeah. It didn't read real high, but it did read on quite a few of the tailings.
Yes.
Some of those were mercury mines, some of them were gold mines, some were silver, some were lead. I mean, there was so much stuff over there in that area in Eastern Oregon in those canyons. It's just amazing.
Okay, Cliff, I know you gotta have a metal radio. You got one behind you there, don't you?
How many dozen would you like?
Yeah, I just pick one that tells the story. You have a
Well,
story?
certainly you can't talk about it without talking about these, but I do have one that is sort of an interesting new thing for me. I didn't think there were too many new things with regard to metal box Atwater Kents, but I found one. One of our new members and a very dear old friend, he's the guy who got me interested in electronics in the first place back in high school. He was the industrial arts teacher. Anyway, he had an electronics class, and that's how I got into electronics in the first place. Went to see him this last weekend, had a nice visit with him, and he had he's beginning to, like all of us, think about trying to thin things out, and he had a few radios to get rid of, and he knew about me and Atwater Kent. So he made sure I ended up going home with him. And this particular one is just, to most folks, just like any other metal box Atwater Kent. What's different about it is this is a model 46. And 46 is sort of an interesting radio in the history of Atwater Kent radios, but it was a migration when they first went to the voice coil speakers, the F-series speakers. And this was one of the first radios that Atwater Kent came out with that used that. What's unique about this particular one is, if you can tell, it's got a crinkle finish. And I'd never seen one. I've seen lots of 46s in my time, but I'd never seen one. And if you ever get into Atwater Kent, you got to have this book. And Ralph Williams, of course, is the guru of all things Atwater Kent. So this particular book, which is the AWA Review Volume 12, is dedicated strictly to Atwater Kent, and every model of Atwater Kent is in this book. And he talks about the history of them and what was special about that model, so on. But he's the first one who ever told me that a crinkled version of this existed. I'll see if I can show you one more. There's one up here And that's got the smooth finish that we're all kind of used to with the later model Atwater Kents. Of what I'm hoping someone on this group could tell me is a little bit about the speaker. Now, this is a F2 speaker that goes with the 46 model. And I've never, ever, ever seen a crinkled finished speaker. And was curious if any of you had ever run across a voice coil type Atwater Kent speaker that had a crinkle finish on it. Again, I know that the radio was made with a crinkle finish because I got one here in my lap. And certainly Ralph Williams talks of that. But I've never heard whether or not there was a speaker that was also a crinkle finish. And if anybody has any knowledge of it, I'd sure love to hear about it.
Jeff, what does that speaker use for a field magnet?
Well, it depends on which model you have. All of them, of course, have big coils, but there's a DC version that has one, you would call it ohm rating for the coil. I think there were 4 major coils in F2 series speakers, depending upon the model that you were working with.
Oh, okay.
And again, Atwater Kent made these same radios in a DC version, and depending upon what the mains were that people would have. And of course, that meant that the voice coils or the field coil was going to be in a different spot in the power supply circuit. And that had a great influence on where it went. There were also DC, the DC version also, of course, had to be a lower voltage unit. And so that had implications too. So you have quite a few. You always have to check which one you got, which field coil you have on these F series speakers to know for sure it belongs with the radio you're working with.
So there weren't any permanent magnet field coils or fields, any permanent magnet fields?
I do not know of it.
I don't have any.
Yeah, I've never heard tell of Atwater Kent coming up with, he did have a farm set that, well, and of course, the E series, of course, didn't need a field coil. It just had a permanent magnet in them. But those were the kind of more mechanical type, not a voice coil type speaker. But yeah, of all the F series that I know of, I've never seen one without a big coil.
Oh, okay, thanks.
So John, I have a question for you. So I know that there, I was going to say, I know that there's some parts in New York that have DC mains, or they used to back in the day. Weren't they like 110 volt DC mains? So would Atwater Kent, would they service that type of market?
Yeah, they did. You couldn't get as high a voltage out of them because he never went with a vibrator or anything like that. So everything was designed to deal with lower voltages and higher currents associated with the requirement for that. But yeah, he had a full contingency. Actually, all the way back through all of his radios, he always wanted to make sure everybody had the opportunity. And of course, you're talking the 20s and 30s, and yeah, you definitely had some DC mains back there, especially back east.
In New York City, they still use 600 volts DC on the subway cars.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have inverters that take the mains and then turn it into DC for those cars.
God, that's got to be awfully inefficient, isn't it? I mean,
Well, not so much anymore. When they were motor generators, they were really inefficient. Now they're actual electronics.
I mean, just having, I guess they're 600 volts, but I mean, they're trying to put a lot of power through. You'd think they put like 4,300 volts or something like that through them to allow you to get lighter cables and stuff like that. But
It's all about, compatibility with the old stuff.
mhm.
So I have a metal radio if you want to see it.
Of course.
Sure.
Please.
So this will take me a second. So if you want to keep talking, while
Does everybody know that's Jay? She's the president of the.
Oh, that's cool. So Jay, what is that? The military. It's a transceiver?
BC 654.
What's receiver?
Would you say BC 654?
Yes. And it,
Bosley.
I'm
it
not
has a
familiar. I
lid
don't have one of
down
those.
with the Morse key.
That's World War II.
Crosley.
Yes, sir.
That's a nice looking set.
I know, it's beautiful. It's like my second favorite radio.
Yeah.
What kind of tubes does it have? Is it got normal octal tubes? Octal tubes?
You know, I've had it apart once. The inside looks really clean, so I haven't played because at some point I want to be part of Moose and Squirrel.
Mhm.
So I want
Was
to
there
get.
an antenna current meter on there?
Oh, you mean the radioactive one?
No, what, no, yeah, there's a meter on there. I thought it said antenna current.
It's an S
Couldn't
meter.
quite-
Oh,
Yeah, so that must, it's gotta be transmitter, yes.
And it comes with. I love portable radios, and it comes with legs, so it sits up like a table.
oh, okay, yeah, so I've seen those. Not very many.
Is that an army? Obviously, it's green, but I mean,
It's milk, yeah.
I would guess. Don't think it's Navy, but let me see.
Does it say on there Navy or Air Force or what?
Oh,
It won't say Air Force. They didn't have Air Force then.
No,
I mean,
Mark, you beat me to it. You're right. It won't be Air Force.
I mean, Navy
Air
or,
Force was part of the Army at that time.
yeah.
no, it just says radio receiver and radio transmitter.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's what I thought it's both. Because antenna current was the tip off there. For the transmitter.
So I have one more metal radio if you want to see it. It's lighter. So but it'll take go pick it up. But y'all can talk.
Sure, go ahead and bring it out.
So what bands did that transmitter work on? Any idea? What did the military use for their different bands?
Anything they wanted to.
Anything they wanted to. But you know, whoever's receiving has got to know who you're transmitting, and so they got to have some standards.
Yeah.
I never served in the service, so I really don't know how it worked.
I'm not familiar with that at all. so
I'm not familiar with that one either.
I know the what's the transmitters they had had those plug-in tuner units for the I think the antenna match or something like that, but for different bands. Ones they had in the aircraft.
I'm just curious because I don't know.
Does anyone collect Vietnam era radios more than World War II radios? I know we have several World War II radio collectors, but there's a collector in the PRSRA, Ernie. He's got a bunch of Vietnam era radios that he's looking to sell. So
I'll have to ask my brother because he was a fixed radio transmitter repair in Vietnam. He went over there and he never fired his rifle once because it was his job to make sure all the transmitters worked. I'll have to ask him.
yeah, he's bringing some to the Mike and Key next month. So, but this guy was a friend of his, and he collected all the Vietnam era radios, and they were all willed to him. So Ernie has them now. Are you going to show yours, Dave?
I could, because I mean, Jay inspired me
Okay, great.
to show this. This is a Navy radio. It's a receiver. It's part of a set. There's a transmitter that's separate, and there's a bunch of batteries and the speakers that are all separate. But all I have is a receiver. It's a Navy type CAY 46076. It's a medium frequency receiver. So it goes from, what does it go from? It goes from, let's see if I can get the bands, like 200 hertz to 2 megahertz.
200 hertz. to
200
200.
kilohertz. No, 200. Yeah, 200.
200K somewhere like it, yeah.
Yeah, 200 kilohertz to 2 megahertz. And
Does it have a name on it, like RBL or RAB or something like that?
yeah, let's see if I can get it up there.
That's what it's going to be known as.
Yeah.
Okay, let me go. It's a it's a Navy Department Bureau of Ships. It's a C, like Charlie Alpha. What's Y? I can't remember what you.
Yankee.
It's an RBM, guys.
This 46076. It's an RBM.
Yeah, RBM is that's what most people would call it.
Okay. I don't see that on here anywhere, but it looks like you can do like so you can take a beat frequency on it. You can have all sorts of interesting. I've never plugged it in, to tell you the truth. So I got this from Wob Walters, and he had it with the power supply, and he also had it with the speaker. He built a speaker for it.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it's
To set it on?
Yeah.
so it's 30 some pounds, so it's just an absolute work of art if you open it up. It's just
So
beautiful.
what year is that?
This is World War II, so I would expect it to be in the early 40s.
And
So-
then does the speaker have a field coil on it?
The speaker is a home built one, so it's a permanent magnet speaker.
It's beautiful.
Maybe
Open
it's
it up.
time for an update for Pat about all the goodies he's unboxing.
Oh, my Dutch is on.
So pretty.
Dave,
Like-
does your power supply have or your speaker have an amplifier on it?
No, it does not.
Okay, so those typically were worked with headphones. And you just need like a little preamp for it or something, a little line amp.
Okay, I honestly, I've never plugged it in. I have to go and do that. So,
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah, and then your power supply is probably a 12 volt. That's what most of them were.
it is. That's exactly
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and then that was coupled with a TBW transmitter. They had both the medium wave and high frequency units.
Don't know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah, the 200 kilohertz was used on Navy because it would travel underneath the ionization layer. Isn't that why they used the low frequency?
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot for submarine use too.
Yeah, that's what I understand. I think it would even penetrate through the water and the air, but
Right.
Anyways,
I don't suppose you get much audio bandwidth, but you don't care.
it's just beautiful on the inside. I mean, it's just everything is just so absolutely clean.
Oh,
Just
that looks nice.
it's just absolutely beautiful. So, it's just well done. I mean, just everything's just so nicely done. So, all metal tubes. So,
Is there some kind of a gasket or a seal for that lid?
no, it's just a, it's just a metal lid. There's no seal on the chassis itself either.
Yeah, it sure kept out a lot of dirt and dust.
Mhm.
If it was, depends on if it made it to a ship, I guess.
But it's just built like a tank, I mean, it's all. I think it's. I don't know. I would. It's just beautiful. I don't know. Here it says August 19th, 1943 is when the capacitors are marked. So there you
Is
go.
that a cast aluminum?
It is
box?
aluminum chassis. It is. It's not cast, but it is aluminum box. It's a sheet metal aluminum. That's been. Yeah, sheet metal that's been. It's got the crinkle finish put on it. So.
nice
you
helicopter.
typically,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh, no, I was just going to say that typically those were used kind of like complement to what the Signal Corps would do. They weren't so much utilized on ships, but the sailors that were stationed ashore and forward control and stuff, they would use those, and they'd basically have to carry them in. That's why it's so light.
But my lips are about turning blue just moving around. So yeah, it's not that heavy. It's like 30, 35 pounds probably.
Oh yeah, you compare that to an RAK or an RAL that was aboard ship, and
It's light.
it seems pretty lightweight.
How do you think those battleships got to be 80,000 tons, right? So
It's hard to tell, but a friend of ours works on the PT boat here in Portland, and they're the PT boat on the Willamette River, and they had, the three set, a receiver, a transmitter, and a power supply that looks like that. Of course, it was just black and had knobs on it, as well I can tell. But it was really cool looking sitting there in that PT boat.
what you showing, Robbie?
Okay, I've got a Helicrafters SX 71. It's I hope you can see it all right. Can you see it there? Okay.
Yeah, that's a nice looking set, Robbie.
Yeah, it's got a dual bands on it here. One's on the for shortwave and AM, and the other side's for ham radio. And it's got 3 IFs in it, so it's pretty sensitive set.
When was that made, Robbie? About how old is that?
I can't remember the date, but probably.
How about mid-50s?
Yeah, around 54, 55. But when I got it, it was a rust bucket. The guy gave it to me. So I took it all apart, piece by piece, sandblasted it, cleaned it up, sprayed it with some real nice shiny black paint, and everything come out just perfect. And
Looks real good.
Runs real good. Yeah. So, but it's metal. So, all right. Who's next?
Oh, well, I have one more.
Oh yeah, good.
I have lots more, but I'm only going to show one here. So I have this one. And if you've heard the story of this one, this is the one where I threatened to lick the radio if he didn't sell it to me. So.
Sorry, Jay. Could you say that again, Jay? You licked the radio?
Well, somebody else was there to buy it. I went to get the money, and when I came back, there was somebody else with his hand on my radio. And yeah, I threatened to lick the radio. And yeah, it was at the beginning of COVID. And yes, and now it's all mine. Let's see, where's the camera? There we go.
Wow, that's a neat looking set. Yeah.
Wow, that's got lots of knobs on it, doesn't it?
It's beautiful, and it's lighter. It's probably like 20 pounds, maybe 15, 20 pounds.
What's the big connector on the lower left or lower right for you?
So
Oh, it's right. No, it's right in the middle. That connector right in the middle.
Right.
Right there. I just wondered what do you
Oh,
plug?
this big one right here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's pretty. It's got
What
thread
plugged
there.
in there?
I don't know. This is all that I got.
Yeah.
But it looks so clean. It's so pretty.
I mean, that's a power plug.
It might be.
Is there any plugs on the back side?
Might also be a power, either antennas and all that stuff. Who knows?
Was it part of a set, do you think? Like it was, something you connected up the rest of the set with?
I don't know, but I know it's supposed to have grill work over it. The pretty grill work. But I just have this. Oh, and it's got a little flap. Little flap comes up. Again, I'm having a hard time working the camera. Right there. For your,
So did you
building.
get this at a garage sale?
No, I got it at Mike and Key, the last Mike and Key there was.
No.
Oh, if this had been in somebody's garage, man, I've gone through the whole garage.
Good for you.
So Jay, you have something that for your image that when you go off screen, you got that was it a Tektronix? What is that thing?
TU-75B.
Okay, and that is what is that?
It is, it's a Variac, it's a very fancy dim bulb tester that they used on the Tektronix line. But the one that I have, they frankened it to put in a isolation transformer, and not a tiny, like a big, like it's heavy. Like when I say it's heavy, it's heavy. So, so yeah, so it's as I'm learning electronics and not to blow things up or set myself on fire, that's what I thought would help me stay alive. So that's the dream anyway.
That's the objective, huh? Stay alive.
So far, no burnt fingers or burnt hair, huh?
Well, I haven't plugged anything in. So
that reminds me, we have a show coming up in April. Is your club gonna be at the show?
You have a show?
Swap meet.
Swap meet.
You have a swap meet in April? That's so far away. What weekend in April?
Second Saturday in April.
Okay. I will, I guess I'll talk it over with other people and see, but I will be at your place on Saturday. So, and you know that I like oscilloscopes, test equipment, military equipment, World War II stuff.
Yeah,
so
you
if
can try
anybody
and
has-
find other. You can try and find other people to ride down with. You get a whole carload or van load of you guys.
It is Valentine's Day weekend with the boyfriend, so no.
Uh-oh.
No, I mean on the swap meet in April.
Oh, on the swap meet, I just, I think COVID has taught me not to make long distance plans. So just doing a little bit at a time. So I have plans this weekend and that's all I have plans for, so.
Oh, the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl's this weekend.
Do you see any interest in my face?
Hey, Jay, in the auction here, there's no military or much test equipment, so there's not really a lot in there for.
Trying to make me cry, sir. Do you want to see a grown woman cry? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's well, but I did want to bring out the point that we need numbers for the April show. So maybe you can take back with you people who might be interested in having a table in our April show should probably let us know, because our numbers in October were kind of dismal. So we're wondering, well, should we even have the show at the Aurora place? Because we may not have enough people. So if people are interested in coming from PSARA, or if they want a table, they should probably let us know so that we can get a count of how many people.
And I can tell you that as of, I think it was today, that we have secured the parking lot for Shoreline for August.
What does that mean? You secured the parking lot? Means
I mean, swap meet's on.
Oh, you got it. It's on.
Well, great.
Okay.
Yes,
Good, that's fantastic.
yes,
Good.
but will you have the bathroom facilities? Will you be able to get those?
You know, I guess as president, that is kind of something I should look into.
Yes, because you have a lot of elderly people out there, and I'm sure that they might
Have you been to our swap meet before, sir?
Oh, yes, I used to go every year for years and years.
Okay.
But
So
they have the bathroom facilities open to us.
Yeah. Oh, and the vice president, the only role of the vice president outside of me dying is the swap meet. So he's been taking care of the swap meet. So
Okay, so
So where is Seth? We need Seth on here.
well, when you see him on Sunday, or no, he doesn't even come to the ours. So you have to wait till the 3rd.
A couple times he comes.
I'd
right?
ask. Pat, I believe I won an auction a month or 2 ago, and you've been holding on to something for me. Is that true? Did I misremember that?
I think you misremembered it. Franklin, did you win something?
No, I think it was Jeff that won. He won all this. Right?
Well, there was a big thing that I didn't get.
Jeff,
And
did
then
you
like a
bid for
small thing.
Jeff was the one that was on there. Did you?
Yeah, Julia, was it the Australian knockoff of the Kingsley HRO that you're interested in?
I was interested in that, but that's the big thing. And then there was a little thing. I think there was like a little.
No, the Kingsley was kind of small. It was a 2-piece. One was the receiver. In fact, I think it was 3 pieces. I think there were some coils.
Together. There was the big thing, and then the thing that went with it, and then there was this other thing. It was about this big.
Oh, I didn't get anything that small.
Okay.
I've got it. What I got was the Radio Marine receiver. Then there was the RCA, and then there was the Kingsley HRO knockoff. And I also got a tube tester.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but Jeff, you also got the little box of all the coils that went with it.
Oh yeah, there was coils with it. That's true, but they went with the Kingsley. Yeah.
Nice.
So Jay, I'm not sure what you won, or if you won some, I'm not sure what it would be.
Okay. I'll look back through my emails again, and I won't be heartbroken this time, but next time.
Whoops.
There'll be more.
You don't know me. I'm a very large woman. I look small on screen. I'm a very large woman. When
Okay.
I get out of the car and you'll be like, wow, there's a large woman here. So,
Okay. Franklin, we better find something to appease her with.
Does Pat's not a real large man?
No, I think that's quite true. I don't think there's anyone smaller than me in the club.
Oh, Damon. Damon can compete with you.
Oh, okay.
That little 8-year-old can.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that little kid. So when we set up the boxing match, you can box the 8-year-old kid.
So
Whatever happened to that young guy? You know, it's too bad he hasn't been coming.
Yeah, I called him once to talk to him, and I left a message and didn't get a response back.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe you lost interest.
Those silly kids.
Hey, Pat, have you put out a list of exactly what's going to be at the auction Saturday?
No, I just picked it up not that long ago, came home, ate dinner, logged on here, and then I was doing the inventory. So I just completed it. It looks like there's 19 items, but most of these all look like they're project related. They're not the greatest things. So and 3 of them I want to pull from the auction to go into the club's inventory, you know, the signal generator, the VOM, and then that capacitance bridge. I'd like to keep that out from the auction so that people can check those out.
Oh, that's a good idea.
But other than that, there'll be like 16 items.
Okay.
What are some of them, Pat?
Well, you saw that Zenith Transoceanic, but I don't know the number. It says 8G005YT. And there's, you know, a handful of tabletop radios.
There was that Zenith AM/FM, right?
Oh, yeah, that one. Now this one is probably, so this is mine, you guys.
I was looking
No.
at that. I think I can bid on that one.
Yeah, somebody's gonna want this one. This one is really nice. Doesn't look like there's any chips or cracks. And Roy said he recapped it, so it's recapped and working. So he wrote right on top there. But this one's really nice.
Oh, yeah, that is nice.
Yeah, and the handle and everything. So I'm sure this will go for a couple bucks at least.
100 maybe.
They had a radio like that in news radio.
Well, I'm not sure, but you know, it is AM and FM, so that might make it more popular. So
Did
that's
I
probably
hear-
the
Did I
best
hear-
one here, because like I say, most all of these are just radios that need to be repaired.
Did I hear Robbie bid $100?
Ooh,
Yeah. Yeah,
sold.
$200,
Oh, wow. Keep going.
300.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah.
But
Only one-
Franklin, to give you an idea, like here's a project radio right here, and it's missing most of its tubes. And I talked to Roy, and the dial face of this is missing. He doesn't have it, so you know this is pretty much just a part set. But you know he's got everything else with it, so you know it's got the escutcheon, the knobs, and the I-tube shield and stuff, but if it's missing the dial and they don't reproduce it, it's pretty much toast. But it's a nice looking set other than that.
Pat, maybe next time we go down there and get the rest of those radios, you might find that part down there.
Yeah, that might be something we should think about, because, you know, I'd hate to put this out there because it's really going to go for not a lot of money. And then if he finds the parts, then it's, well, then the person who has it will probably want to bid on it. But what I'll do is when I get done with the inventory and send it out to the group and to him, to Roy, I'll basically say, hey, a lot of these are missing tubes and parts. Do you think you have them? Because we may want to pull them from the auction and not do it until we actually have the complete radio.
Yeah.
But that's a good point, Robbie. We should probably see if he's got all the parts somewhere else.
Probably it's another box in his garage there somewhere, maybe.
Yeah. Could be.
You never know. Some stuff like that could be just laying anywhere around there in the garage somewhere.
Yeah, here's another example. Here's a GE G50. It's a teledial.
Oh, it's got the thing missing too. doesn't it?
Yeah, it's in this box. It's just in the box on top, but part of it looks like it's pop metal, and there's some pieces that need to be glued back together. So, you know, another project set.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of guys who like the projects. to work
Yeah,
on.
this one's another one. It looks pretty good, complete, but it's missing all its tubes. Well,
Well, somebody's a tube thief around here now.
three of the five are missing. Well, like I say, when I do the inventory, I'm gonna say, hey, these are missing the tubes. Do you by chance have them somewhere?
Yeah, I think he does have them back there in his garage somewhere in a big box of spare parts and stuff.
Yeah, like this one. Here's another wood project. I looked through the box. It's missing one tube. It's got the speaker. It's got the grill. It's got the dial, you know, but it's missing all the tubes and one knob. So, you know,
Well,
this
tubes could have been bad too, Pat. You know, maybe he took them out because they were bad.
all five of them. I doubt it.
No, I doubt it too.
All
yeah.
at once.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, well, you know, when we get these, you know, donations, I mean, sometimes we get some really good ones and sometimes we get, you know, ones that are not so great. So, you know, we just roll with the punches.
Yeah. Well, Pat, it's time for me to go. So I'll see.
Anybody for metal radios before Robbie leaves? New metal radios? No metal radios for you, Gary?
Well, it's not really a radio. It's a little field strength meter, and it is metal. Has anybody seen one of these?
No, that's cool.
I've heard of them before and I've seen pictures of them, but I have no idea what you'd use them for, Gary.
Well, it's basically a field strength meter. It's battery operated, and you can hook up an antenna to it, and it measures the field strength of whatever goes in. It's for cable TV operators, I guess, for installation. It covers VHF and UHF tunes from 54 megahertz up to well, whatever channel 70 was back in the analog UHF days. And I'm trying to use it as a way to measure gain. You know, I've got this amplifier that you'd put up on the TV mast, and I have no idea if it works or not. So I was going to run a signal through it and see how much gain there was, but this stupid meter is not working, and I don't have any books on it, any schematics. When I turn it on, the meter goes all the way over to the right-hand side and just sits there. So I got a feeling that it's self-oscillating and just detecting itself. But without a schematic, I mean,
The capacitors are good and stuff like that. Oh
look at the
gosh.
insides of it. Yeah, it's all discrete transistors and diodes, probably from the 1960s or 70s, or maybe a little bit newer. But there's no ICs or anything like that, except for this one voltage regulator here. So it's a challenge right now. I looked on the internet, and it's a Sadelco model 719B, as in Bravo, but couldn't find any books on it, any service manuals. So yeah, now that everything's digital, nobody uses these things anymore to work on television or radios.
So you said that amplifier you had showed goes in the line cord, in the antenna cord to this thing?
Yeah, it's got a little F connector for the input, and you can switch in up to 40 dB of attenuation. And it displays in microvolts directly. And the tuning, there's a little button here, so you can hear what the program material is when you're tuning around. When it was working, it worked really good.
Well, I've never seen one anyway.
Ah. Okay, so that's my metal radio. I do have this one. It's not entirely metal. Can you guys see that?
Oh yeah.
The front's metal, but I love this thing. It's really cool looking.
It is cool looking.
For a minute, I thought it was an air conditioner.
It looks like a 57 Chrysler grill or something, but it's a GE portable, big heavy thing. Runs on 9 D cells.
Holy
I don't think
crap.
I don't think I've got any batteries in it. No batteries in it. But when it runs, it's got a beautiful 5-inch speaker, and the sound is excellent.
So it's all transistor.
Yes. Yep. No tubes in that one. Solid state devices, not hollow. Yep. So, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of tube radios, and the ones I do have are either wood or plastic.
Looks like Myron's got something else there.
Little Arvin.
I thought more people would have these kind of metal radios. This is an Arvin, obviously. These are really cheap. I looked it up. I think it's like 1948. And they had this interesting, the metal back here is actually the antenna. But they were really terrible performers because they only had 4 tubes, no IF. So they just went straight from the converter into the detector, and that was that. But
no IF filtering. Wow.
No IF tube, no tube. It was just a 4-tube set. So they didn't, they just went straight to 455 and then detected it with no amplification.
Wow.
But they were really cheap, and this is like 1948 or so. And I expected more people to have some of these, because these are your classic kind of metal radios.
Where did you buy those?
Well, and I was about to say, I think I got this at the Mike Parker auction at the Steam Up, which was after Mike died, in the Trolley Museum. They had an auction of his stuff at the Trolley Museum, because he was active in the trolley stuff that was I guess it's still at the Steam Up. We haven't been in the Steam Up for a couple of years now.
But where would you have bought them originally?
Well, where would you buy them originally? You'd buy them at the dime stores and stuff like that.
Okay, that's what I was wondering about. You can tell them I'm feeding you the question.
Yeah. But yeah, they're pretty cool. I don't know how many of you remember Mike Parker. He was really active in the radio club and active in the trolley club down at the Steam Up. They put in all those tracks and got that building to put all the trolleys in and stuff like that. And the other guy that was his friend was Greg, who was a president of the club for 1 year. I can't remember Greg's last name right now.
Greg Swenson.
It doesn't ring a bell. But they were big into the trolleys. The trolleys at one time were stored out here at Glenwood, and they got screwed out of the storage area by the guy who lived out there. And then they had to move all those trolleys down to the Steam Up.
That's a truck, is that right?
Yeah, which was a monumental task. I mean, they had dozens of them, and they're all in a big building down there at Brooks now. And you can ride, you can take a ride when you go to the Steam Up. They have a station and tracks, and it goes all the way around the Steam Up and stuff. It's pretty cool. Electric trolleys.
And they held last year, right? Wasn't it? I know they skipped 1 year, right? But did they held it last year?
We didn't go.
It was I was going to go, and it was that was the day when it was like 115 degrees out, and so I my buddy that does sell stuff there. And
it's the last weekend of July and the first weekend of August.
Yeah, and he said everybody basically shut down at noontime because it's
it was too hot. Yeah, it's always hot, but last year it was ridiculous. Yeah.
Hey Myron, could I see their metal radio again?
Yeah, sure.
So are you missing the knob?
That's right, I am. The volume control knob did not come with it, but it has the original paint and everything, so it's actually kind of cool. I mean, the knob looks kind of the tuning knob looks kind of butterscotch compared to the radio, which is off-white, right? So it's kind of a different kind of a color. But
wouldn't the knob be exactly the same color as the dial?
That's what I would expect. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a different kind of a knob because it's such an interesting color. You don't see, that color knob very much. But there were a number of variations of these. They weren't much different from one another, but they just had slightly different styling and in the front and stuff. But I expected people to bring those. So since nobody brought one, I thought I'd bring out mine. I couldn't make it perform. I remember I replaced the caps and, it never did work very well. Missing an IF amplifier, yeah.
Does it have regular paint on the metal can, or is it like porcelain?
Oh, it's just like, what we call today rattle can paint, there's nothing special. It has an interesting, stamp on the back there where it says to change tubes, remove these screws. Like they must have made a rubber stamp to stamp that on after it was painted. Right?
Oh yeah.
So how was that plate on the back, the antenna?
I'm about to take that back. I've seen that on different Arvins, but this one is not. This one I see inside here. There's a hank of wire, and so this had a wire antenna.
Yeah, okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I was wrong about that, but I have seen them where they would insulate this metal plate. This just is not one of them.
Yeah.
Where they would insulate it and use it as the antenna, which is weird because it's, it wouldn't be a coil or anything. It would just be a metal plate.
But I'm sure if you're in a big city close to the transmitters, then it'd probably work just fine.
I think that's what these radios were made for.
Yeah. I mean, you get out far in a field, out in the countryside, and it probably wouldn't be worth a while.
And they probably sold for, in 1948, they probably sold for, $10 or $8 or something like that.
Yeah. When you could buy a Coke for a nickel and a what do you call it? The candy bars were a nickel, and except I don't know, the one with 2 little candy bars with a dime. Boy, I know the dime. Anyway.
Well, and it was said that what happened after the war, maybe not in 1948, but after a few years, the kids didn't want to all sit in the living room and listen to the same program that their parents were listening to.
Yeah.
So there was a big market for buying radios for kids to take to their bedroom, and they could listen to WLS or something.
Yeah.
Okay, see you later, Pat. I'm bailing out here now, so.
Bye, Robbie.
See you later, Robbie.
All right, Robbie.
Yeah, see you Saturday.
Now, what time is your auction Saturday? What time is your auction Saturday?
We usually have it before the meeting starts. Let me take a look. So it looks like the auction would be starting about 8:30 or maybe a little later. Mike McCrow usually does that, and I wish he was on tonight because he's our auctioneer. And the reason why we do that before the meeting starts is a lot of times people are anxious for the auction, and then they'll talk all the way through a guest speaker. And so we want to make sure we get all the auction items taken care of before the meeting starts.
Yeah, I've got commitments from about 12 o'clock until late on Saturday. And so I don't know, I'd really like to come to your meeting, but it would really be cutting it close.
Well, what do you think, Frank? A lot of times our meetings, they get over before 12, right?
Yeah, sure. And you can always leave early. Yeah, that's for sure. But we will have it on Zoom too, so you can watch it on Zoom. It's a little difficult.
Yeah, let me know and I'll watch it on Zoom.
Okay, I'll send you a link.
Yeah, is it the same link as this or not?
Yep, same link.
Okay, so Saturday, what time?
I'll
Start?
start Zoom at I should start the Zoom at 8, but you can come in any time.
Okay, so you'll have the auction and then the meeting.
Right.
On the Zoom. Okay, well, I won't spend all that time, but I'll certainly spend some time. I do appreciate you letting me know.
You bet.
Hey, David, I'll send you an agenda for the meeting, so you'll have times and stuff.
Okay, that's the first meeting I'm gonna go to, so I more just see what it's like. Hey, you bought all my radios, but I don't know how much I appreciate people who like radios. Anyway.
Mike's probably working on Damon's Halcrafters.
Yeah, that's what I gather from the internet. I mean, from email.
Okay, well, we'll see you Saturday sometime during your Zoom meeting.
Sounds great.
I'm gonna say goodbye. You take care. Bye-bye.
Pat, one thing that PRSRA is doing is they're moving all their business meetings to Zoom. So if anybody wants to be at the business meeting only, that way they have more time when they do finally open up their in-person meeting to do all the other things. They're more fun than the business meeting. They have the same problem we do. A lot of people complain that the business meetings are taking too long or too boring or whatever. But I think with our charter, we have votes done through the meetings, right? The live meetings. We would have to change that or decide what we're going to do there, or we could just have votes there. Limit the discussions to 3 minutes or 3 minutes per person or 2 minutes per person or whatever we want to do, and just have that. And that way, and more people can be at the business meeting actually that don't come to to the actual meetings. But there's good and bad about it. You know, what I'm saying is, you know, that some people will enjoy the more of the funner meetings, you know, more activities, more kind of things than just doing the business part of it. But I remember like when we had the business meeting at the tech, very few non-board members came. So anyway, idea, and it looks like that might be something that they're doing that we might think about, because I do get a lot of complaints about people thinking the business meetings are too long and too boring.
So what happens is the business meeting first and they take care of business and then they have the fun in games time after that?
Well, they're going to do it on different days, I think, because
Different days.
Yeah, so they're going to have the business meetings on certain days, and then they're going to have their regular meetings, and then they're going to eliminate basically the business part of the meeting. And you know, this will be they haven't even got back to in-person meetings, so that's something that they need to try it. But this is what they're going to do, and I thought it was kind of interesting idea, because I have, you know, like we always hear complaints that they want the board to make more decisions and you know, just to do the business stuff and kind of thing. So, and then, you know, more people participate, I think, if it's on Zoom too. There's just a few of the older guys that don't have Zoom might complain, but then I guess they could bring up their complaints later, or maybe beforehand, or they could watch it on YouTube too as well.
But remember, we have, starting in February, we have a suggestion box. And so people can put in their ideas or complaints or whatever in the suggestion box. So that'll start in January or February.
Sounds good. Have you worked on the survey? Have you decided you're going to do a survey, or I know you still want?
I don't know. That's, you know, we've done surveys for like the last 3 out of the last 4 years in a row, and we have so few people even commenting on it. It's kind of, you know, it's almost not really worth doing. We spend all that time and effort doing it, and then you know, I don't know.
Did Jay send you her survey? I told her to, but I don't know if she did. Did you get it? Her
Yes.
survey?
Yeah, I
Okay.
looked at it and stuff, and I kind of questioned the value of that, because if you saw a lot of the questions and what there was, you know, what you could pick from, I was thinking, I'm not sure how useful some of that will be. I mean, some are,
I mean, it was a long survey. I mean, there was a lot of questions to ask and a lot of open-ended questions too.
Mhm.
So I thought it would be, I would be surprised if she gets much participation, but that was my criticism of it. But you know.
yeah, because I think what we want to do is we want to do a follow-up with her to see what kind of responses and how many she got.
Yeah.
Because she asked that from us. I think I gave her some surveys we had done in the past and sent them to her. Plus, you know, she wanted other documentation that we've done and ideas. So I send all that to her.
Good. I think the more we can coordinate the two clubs together, the better. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm disappointed though that they're going to have their thing up there in August, because I mean, it's a good thing they're up there, but what's that going to do for us in trying to get together with them in Chehalis?
I know. That Chehalis one was great, and I would like to do that again if that was possible. But like you said, that's going to mess that up. What do you think of the Mike and Key coming up in March, though? Too, that's going to be on the same date as our meeting.
Is that Rick Rial?
No, Mike and Keys in Puyallup.
Mike and Key. That's right. This is Puyallup. Okay, I remember now.
And Rick Rial's coming up too, right? I mean, I'm not sure what date that is now, but
Is Rick Rial already been done?
No, it's the week after our club meeting.
Okay.
And yours is the first week at Sunday, right? So it would be March. It would be early March too.
Which one?
Rick Rial?
Rick Rial is on the 21st, I think.
Oh, this month.
This month, yeah.
Rick Rial is usually the third weekend in February.
So those two are coming up real soon.
So what are we conflicting with on our next Saturday meeting?
The Mike and Key in Puyallup.
Is that a big event?
It's a huge event for
very big.
That's the big ham fair in the Northwest.
Well, maybe we should consider that. Maybe. So how long have they had that second Saturday of February spot? Forever? Just like
Forever.
us?
Forever. It's always been a conflict.
Maybe we should think about that. Maybe somebody should put in a suggestion box that for the month of February, we meet on the third
March.
or the third Saturday of March.
How about the first Saturday?
Okay, the first Saturday.
Because that's the one we can get, right? I mean, we can
Yeah.
definitely, that would be great. I would appreciate that because I really want to Mike and Key.
Maybe we should talk about that as a bullet point in our coming meeting. And then if we hurry up and do it real quick, we can secure that spot for the first Saturday in March and pay for it and get it locked down.
Have you got any news on the Rick Ryan auction too? What day?
Well, actually, this Saturday, Tom is supposed to bring a bunch of radios for sale, not for auction, but just for sale. And it's kind of like a preview of stuff that he's going to have. And then the auction will be whenever the estate wants to have it.
So they haven't decided then, huh?
No, they have not.
But ideally it'll be a first Saturday, right? I mean, that's what.
Well, if you listen to what Ed said, which is surprising, he is willing to do that on our regular meeting. So the estate wouldn't have to buy a $75 or $100 slot on another Saturday.
But do we know how many radios we're talking about? I mean, we're talking a lot of radios, right?
I'm going to estimate 50, 75. And then like Ed said, he's willing to divide that in half so that we would auction half in one meeting and half in another.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that would be a lot better way to do it. Yeah.
Well, we technically have up to an hour to auction the radios off. And you know, the way it's going, we could probably easily take care of 50 in an hour.
Yeah, that's what we figured. 25 a half hour. So yeah, it would be perfect.
So if we make it draw it out a little longer, we could probably make it so that maybe we want the auction for 45 minutes, but do 30.
There we go.
You know, 30, 60 of them, or, you know, whatever.
Looks like Mark's leaving. Are you leaving, Mark? You say goodbye.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I'll see you guys later.
All right. Thanks, Mark.
See you later, Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good seeing you.
So then, you know, and if we do move the business meeting, then we will have extra time for auctions and stuff like that in the mornings too, as well. So it's just something to think about.
Well, I'm going to put your name on it and put those in the suggestion box for the business meeting split up and the moving of the November or the March meeting for Recreation.
You can do that. That's a great. Thanks.
Well, we actually have to have someone using that because, you know, no one's going to use that. But if they see that it actually is being read and we're, you know, working on the suggestions, you know, someone else may feel like, okay, well, I'll, you know, put my suggestion in there.
I would hope that if we do a business meeting at a different time, we don't interrupt the Wednesdays things because a lot of Wednesday people are there, you know, first to have the Wednesday fun. And the business meetings could be boring and people like, I know we had a couple complaints about when we were talking about the Rick Ryan auction, that we were taking up too much of the.
Yeah, and that's my fault too, because, you know, you and Ed and Mike and, you know, they're all, and Dan's here Wednesday night. It's like, okay, let's hurry up and just do a real quick business meeting at the beginning. And it never lasts 5 minutes or whatever. So.
Right, exactly. So we got to figure out a day that we can all get together and do it and a good time for everybody. And then if we do a business meeting that way, I mean, it's just something to think about. And it might be easy to iron those things out beforehand. That's for sure. And then more fun during the Wednesdays and during the in live meetings too, as well as auctions during that too. So.
Okay.
And I'm excited about Christian's going to have going to do a thing on Fender amps, which is fantastic. He's been doing some research on it and stuff. And so that's going to be interesting. I think it'll be neat to have a tech talk of that. And I do need to talk to Damon about a tech talk that he's supposed to do for the next month one. And then I don't know if Blake and Mike are going to be doing the end. Did you put it at the end of the thing for their repair radio on the agenda?
No, because I don't have anything them. They have not talked to me. The only tech talk we have for this coming Saturday is Christian on the Fender amps and two radios with W in their names, and Mike is doing Western Electric tubes, but I don't have anything else scheduled for anything in the future.
Okay. I do have Damon for next March's tech talk, but I haven't talked to him since December about that, but and Mike and Blake, they want to do theirs at the end. They want to do it different than the Tech Talk. So we can have Tech Talks and we can have their in repair radio section at the end. So they don't want to be involved in the Tech Talk section. So
They doing anything this Saturday then?
they were supposed to skip one and then have, they want to skip one and then have two and then skip one and have two. So that's what I was told, but I haven't heard anything that they're ready to do it or if they are even going to come because of COVID kind of things. So I
Right,
know.
right.
So
Well, I was hoping Mike was going to be here tonight because I've asked him if we're going to have coffee with, cream and sugar and, flavorings this coming Saturday, and I haven't heard back. We do know that no one is bringing donuts because Brian said he can't make it. I just got an email from today, so we don't have any donuts.
didn't we have double donuts last time?
Yeah, because he never responded. So I brought him as well.
Oh no. We should have saved those donuts, huh?
Oh yeah, I'm sure they'd be great.
Be a little hard. Just dip it in your coffee.
So I'll send an email. I've got a lot of email, or I got to, do an email and tell everyone about all this stuff so that, yeah, maybe somebody will chime in and get donuts. If not, then I will bring them again on Saturday.
Okay, sounds good. I'll be there early, start setup. What do you think about having it? Oh, here it is. There's Mike replying about your free membership to the donor.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, what'd he say?
He said, yeah, that's good. And I'm good with it. I think that's a great idea.
Okay, he has contributed before. I don't know if you remember, Roy Gabriel donated a whole mess of stuff. I've got his thing from last time. He donated 18 items. Yeah, tube tester, Bakelite radio, Spartan, Silvertone console, airline, tombs, yeah, a bunch of stuff. He last time donated 18 things, so this time it's another 18. Plus, he still has more stuff. He has to move, so he hasn't uncovered everything yet.
Sounds good. Yeah, I don't have no problem giving a donation. I mean, free memberships to people that donate.
Right, but it's only, he wants to join, but he's just like, well, kind of thinking about it and stuff like that. So if we give him a free electronic only, it really won't cost us much money. And then if we get him hooked on it, then maybe he'll just go ahead and pay the membership at the end of this year.
Can he come to Zooms? I mean, that might be the key to get him.
Well, I invited him. I sent an email tonight so he could, participate, but it didn't look like he showed up.
And he gave me his email address, so I did send him an automatic one too.
Oh, okay.
I did mess up on that though. It says February 8th instead of February 12th for the meeting, but I don't know if everybody noticed it. But
Well, we'll send it to him again next week.
yeah, there we go. Sounds good.
Well, I don't have anything else.
Me neither. I'm ready to go if you guys are good. Is everybody good? How you doing, Lyles? What do you think?
I'm doing fine. How's everybody else doing?
I still want you to guess when you originally joined the club. Give me a guess.
I don't remember. I'll have to dig back in ancient history and check.
You get your fossil tools out and find the dinosaur.
Right.
So I was going to ask you if you're going to find a stone tablet or something like that.
Right.
Rosetta Stone, huh?
Is Gary still, Gary, is that a HQ 120 in front of you?
It is.
On your bench, huh?
Yes, that is a HQ 120.
That's what I thought. Okay.
So I lied. I do have another metal radio.
Oh, you didn't want to show it. You didn't show it, huh?
Well, I think I showed you this before.
Does it play?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I just turned it on, so it's got to warm up.
Hey, Franklin, do you remember if Jay bought any? Because I don't think she did. I think Jeff Quay outbid her on everything.
I think so too. And weren't you supposed to bid for her?
Yeah, but remember I said that, and then I put out the bid, and then Jeff overbid us.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I remember.
Okay, but if she comes back and gets mad.
We'll have to give her something. Give her some metal, some boat anchor of some kind. She'd be very happy. Lyles, they had a meeting on Saturday or Sunday at PSRA. They were talking about that. They wanted somebody from Tektronix. They have some oscilloscope question. I tried, but I think between you and Bruce might be able to figure it out. It's earlier oscilloscopes, tube oscilloscopes, of course, but they had some questions that I think one of you guys could have answered.
Well, the person to ask is if Bruce Bauer's not on here this evening, but all they have to do is email the Vintage Tech Museum and use that name, and they can get whatever help they need or get in contact with whatever help they need.
Okay, sounds good. I'll tell them that. Thanks.
It's Vintage Tech Museum.
The Democrats. Check out their email. I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's a good idea. Gary, is that on a long wire or is it you got a nice antenna on there?
Actually, I have terrible hum problems in this house, and my antenna is one of these. I don't know if you can see that. It's a C crane magnetic antenna that you can tune. There it is, sitting over here.
Oh, okay.
It's the only quiet spot in this room.
But that thing ought to pull in broadcast pretty easy.
I've never heard of a C crane tunable antenna, Gary.
Yeah, it's a twin coil ferrite, and it's very narrow band, and it gets rid of the noise. Because if I put a wire out the window, all I do is pick up power line noise. It's terrible.
Mine's the same way. My house, I can't hardly listen to radio in it. It's just terrible.
And I think it's all the digital equipment that's running around in the wiring. I mean, there's the internet.
All the LED light bulbs and stuff like that.
LED dimmers. Used to have nothing like that in my house, and it was just so quiet you could hear stations clear across the country. But boy, it's really tough now. But yeah, this is a beautiful set. I really love it. I've had it since 1972 and dragged it around the country with me since my early days as a novice.
Yeah, it does look good.
That's cool.
It's old.
Yeah, I think it's 1940, pre-war.
I was gonna say mid-40s, and that's only a guess.
It's I have the original manual for it, and the original owner, I'm the second owner. He wrote the date in there. It's like 1940.
Wow.
It unfortunately, the inside is not all original. I'll show you what it looks like. It's this is all new transformer, different audio transformer. I think that's the rectifier tube is missing because I put solid state rectifiers in there.
Mm-hmm.
But these tubes here are original. You see my makeshift grid cap.
Oh yeah.
And then the RF side and the IF side is all pretty much a version. If you look underneath, every resistor and every capacitor is replaced with modern stuff. So it's not at all original, but it works great.
Yeah, from 1940, I don't think there would be a capacitor that could still be survived from there. You know, that time period.
Yeah.
As far as like electrolytic or paper, right? So
I think capacitors shorting out was what caused the transformer to melt in the original. I had a meltdown. That's when I learned to replace electrolytic capacitors. It's
Gary,
really bad room where that happened.
does it have a lot of hours on it? Do you use it a lot?
Oh yeah, I couldn't count the number of hours. It's my main go-to radio with a half decent antenna on it. Best radio for selectivity and sensitivity on the AM broadcast band.
That's cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to go to bed too. I'm starting to turn into a pumpkin. So.
Yep. Time to go watch the Olympics and fall asleep.
Everybody have a good evening.
Everybody.
Yep, good night.
Good night, Christian.
Yeah,
Thank
good
you.
night.
Bye.